Sandra, next to me here, she's the director of Hollywood Health and Society, a program of the University of Southern California, Annenberg Norman Lear Center. She's known for her award-winning work on entertainment, health, and social change in the U.S. and also internationally. Sandra provides resources to leading scriptwriters and producers with the goal of improving the accuracy of health and climate change-related storylines on top television programs and films. This has resulted in more than 565 aired storylines over the span of 3 years. She was named one of the 100 most influential Hispanics in America by Potter Magazine and has received numerous other honors, including the USAID MAC Outstanding Achievement Award. Her vasectomy campaign in Brazil, mind you, she's half Brazilian, won 7 international advertising awards, including a Bronze Lion at Cannes, the Cannes Festival, mind you, and the gold medal at the London International Advertising Awards. She's a former associate faculty member of Johns Hopkins University, the School of Public Health, in fact, and recently she led Hollywood writers and producers on trips to South Africa and India and launched the Storybus Tour Series and Climate Change Storylining Initiative. Sandra, we're all yours.
Thank you. So I would say that all of us here are concerned about uplifting and transforming society through improved health and well-being. And there are many ways to achieve that. And what we're going to talk about today is the power of storytelling. In fact, in this workshop, you are going to become the storytellers yourselves. And we're going to be having a very hands-on interactive session, and you'll go through a series of exercises with our amazing writer-producer friends from Hollywood, who will share with you some of the most important techniques they use for creating compelling stories. But why is this important? Why should public health experts care about storytelling techniques? Well, Gabriel Garcia Marquez gave us a clue when he said that fiction was invented the day Jonas arrived home and told his wife he was 3 days late because he had been swallowed by a whale. So we know there's a story there. So I'm going to give you just 3 data points about why storytelling is important. And those of you who were with us last night heard me say this, that we know from our research that nearly 2/3 of regular viewers of TV shows report learning something new about a disease or how to prevent it from television. And more than 1/3 of those viewers report taking action on what they learned. So we know that storytelling captivates, holds attention, and can actually motivate behavior change. So that's one reason. Another is that storytelling is more powerful and more effective in moving viewers to action than other forms of communication. So in this case, we had a storyline about HIV and AIDS on a daytime soap opera in the US, and this soap is the longest running soap opera in the world, and it is aired in over 100 countries worldwide. Hundreds of millions of viewers watch this show every day. And there was a minor storyline about HIV and AIDS, 3 episodes. In the first episode, Tony, this character, learns that he's HIV positive. In the second episode, he tells the beautiful Kristen, his fiancée, that he's HIV positive. And in the third episode, they get married. We asked the network to allow us to air a public service announcement referring viewers to the CDC AIDS call-in hotline number. Now, this red peak here was August 13th, the day Tony told Kristen he was HIV positive. And that PSA aired, and it resulted in the highest peak in callers all year to that hotline number, 5,313 calls in a single day. We compared that to all references in the media over the course of a year, referring people to the same hotline number. Look at the small peak, 60 minutes, the first blue ball. Very few, very credible news source talking about HIV and AIDS, referring viewers to the hotline number. Look at the result. The second one, the Surgeon General of the United States in his PSA campaign refers viewers to the same hotline number, a small peak. The next one was a huge national Get Tested campaign, very highly financed. It happens once a year in the US. There was a significant peak, but not anything close to The Bold and the Beautiful for motivating viewers to take action. What's happening here? We can finger wag, we can provide the most compelling scientific data, we can tell people logically, and nothing moves them to action like appealing to the head and the heart. And so this is why public health professionals have a lot to learn from Hollywood writers and producers about how to appeal to the heart and the head at the same time. The third reason we should care about storytelling is what we call in the scientific literature transportation. Transportation is a measure of engrossment in a story. Think about being in a movie theater and watching your favorite movie. What happens? I'll talk from my perspective. I lose track of time. I forget my surroundings. I come to see the characters as beloved family or friends. I care deeply what happens to them, and I don't want the story to end. In social science literature, that means I'm transported into the story. I'm engrossed deeply. What happens is we have much higher knowledge gains and behavior changes when we're transported into a story. Now, this is an argument for good storytelling, because there are lots of kinds of storytelling. So compelling story is what grabs and holds our attention and transports us. Now, the bottom half of this little slide addresses involvement with characters. Involvement is a factor in transportation, but the difference is it doesn't compel viewers to action in the way that transportation does. So you may have a story with characters you identify with. You know, it may be told in a way that's okay, that kept my attention, but it's something I may forget, and it won't move me to take action. So what we have to learn is not only how to use storytelling, but how to create compelling stories that transport us and transport our patients and our viewers. Creativity takes a lot of courage. It takes a leap of faith in a way. And those of us who, I have a public health background, as I'm sure many of you do, or science background, creativity, we have creativity in our research, but it's a little bit different from sort of jumping off the cliff of creating a story from nothing. So we're going to get a lot of practice today. And what I'd like to do next is introduce our speakers and the leaders of our storytelling workshop. And I'm going to do this in order of their speeches. I'll start with Christopher Kaiser. Chris is the president of the Writers Guild of America West. He's actually a graduate of Harvard College and Harvard Law School. And after graduating, he became a political speechwriter, working on Governor Bruce Babbitt's presidential campaign in 1988. And his credits include Benefit of the Doubt for Miramax and the independent film Highland Park. He's currently preparing to direct his own script, A Great Education. In television, he writes with a partner, Amy Lippman. And they've worked on many series, from LA Law to Equal Justice and to the show Sisters. And they created the very well-known drama series Party of Five, which ran for 6 years on Fox and won the Golden Globe for Best Drama and the Humanitas Prize. Okay, and he's also a partner in a political media company, First Tuesday. He's also the co-chair of the Hollywood Health and Society Board, and that's the most important thing. So, welcome, Chris. And then we have Jennifer Cecil, the amazing Jennifer Cecil, and she is the executive producer of the show Private Practice, a medical practice. And it's a very big hit on ABC, and she's been writing for this show since 2010. And prior to that, she was the co-executive producer on 90210, on Brothers and Sisters, and also wrote for One Tree Hill, Providence, Reigns, and Hollywood Off-Ramp. In addition to her work in television, Jennifer wrote the screenplay for Cadillac Ranch, starring Christopher Lloyd and Susie Amos. She was born and raised in Texas, and she currently resides in Santa Monica, California. And the other thing I'll tell you about Jennifer is that she traveled with me, with Hollywood Health and Society, to India last year and was immersed in learning about global health in a local context, and visited the slum, the second largest slum in the world, huge city dump. We met all kinds of innovative leaders and activists in public health. So she's got a lot to tell us. And next, I'm going to introduce Sarah Watson. And Sarah is a writer and the co-executive producer of the critically acclaimed NBC drama Parenthood. And she just sold a major pilot to Fox. So we're all very happy for her. Congratulations again. And her other credits include The Middleman, The Unusuals, Lipstick Jungle, and Standoff, among other series. She's a Northern California native, and she studied English and American literature at UCLA before beginning her career in television. When she's not writing on Parenthood, she can be found in Los Angeles coffee shops working on her first novel. So welcome, Sarah. And finally, last but not least, I would like to welcome Dr. Zoanne Clack. Zoanne, as I said last night, is the only MD, MPH in Hollywood. And she is the co-executive producer of Grey's Anatomy, a very well-known show, as you know, and she's been on the show since it began and also acts as a medical advisor. She assists in production of all aspects related to medicine on the show. She attended Northwestern University, UT Southwestern Medical School, and Rollins School of Public Health at Emory University. She completed a residency in emergency medicine, a fellowship in injury prevention, and spent a year at the CDC in international emergency medicine. She's a staunch advocate and an activist for using entertainment media to communicate public health messages. She's on many boards around the world advising people. And I just gave you her medical credentials, but the reason she's really here today is to talk to us about compelling writing. So, let's just go over our workshop goal and objectives. We're here to increase the use of storytelling and narratives for effective communication with the public, with policymakers, and with public health professionals. And our objectives today are to understand the framework and the elements of effective storytelling for health communication, to identify the components of the narrative writing process, and to acquire and apply strategies to create and deliver effective narrative stories. So just to go over the agenda in brief, we have a writer's toolkit. We're going to do 3 exercises, and my colleagues here will lead us through. After these 3 exercises of speed writing, outlining, and first draft, and you will all be writing this morning. We brought pens and paper, so don't worry if you didn't bring any. We wish we had tables to provide you, but we don't have any, so I hope you have something to write on. We'll take a short break. And right before we take this 15-minute coffee break, we're going to change the room around so that we have 4 groups. And then we'll come back and we're going to do small group exercises to help you create stories as a group, the way one would do in a writer's room. And then we'll invite one representative from each group to come up here and present the story to the plenary, and we will workshop that story, give notes and pointers, and give you ideas for either improving it or we'll celebrate you for doing a fantastic job, or a combination. So that's what the day looks like. And I'm going to close with this quote from the author Barbara Kingsolver. She said, "Fiction has enormous power. It's funny, people talk about political fiction or apolitical fiction, That's nonsense. I think all fiction has a point of view, and all fiction has the power to create empathy for the theoretical stranger. It has the power to bring the reader inside the mind of another person. Only fiction can do that. Journalism can't do that. Journalism describes from the outside. Photography describes from the outside, but in fiction, really, you put down your life. You enter the mind of another person, and you inherit her children and her financial problems, and all these things, you inhabit them for a while. That's an audacious thing to do with another person. So I try to use that power as well as I can. Barbara Kingsolver. So now, before I turn this over to Chris Kaiser, I'm going to show you a short clip from Parenthood. And this is such a compelling piece of fiction. I don't know, Sarah, if you'd like to set it up at all. Here's the mic.
Oh, sure. If you've seen the show Parenthood, in this storyline, Adam Braverman, played by the incredible Peter Krause, his wife has been recently diagnosed, very recently, within a few weeks, with breast cancer. And their daughter, Hattie, who is 18 years old and just went to college at Cornell, 3,000 miles away, and could not be happier there. So they are in the very difficult position as parents. How much do you tell your children about your health when there's nothing they can do and you're powerless anyways? And so this is about Hattie trying to get more information from her father.
Look, Hattie, we just don't want you to worry. You got to focus on your schoolwork, okay? We're taking care of everything. You just don't worry.
Yeah, I don't have any information, and I'm really far away, and I don't know what's going on.
You know what? Everything's going to be all right. Don't worry, and just focus on your books, okay? Give yourself a little bit of time in the morning.
What?
Huh?
What did you say? Focus on school?
Just focus on school. Don't be looking
Dad, it's like hard. I'm really far away from home. I don't know what's going on. Like, you didn't tell me any information. Hello? Can you treat me like an adult?
Okay. Your mother's tumor is 1.6 centimeters, okay? So they're going to be able to do a lumpectomy. They're going to be able to get the tumor out without having to do a mastectomy, so that's good. And while they're doing the lumpectomy, they're going to do a biopsy of 2 lymph nodes, because that's how cancer usually spreads. So they're going to be able to tell whether your mother needs any further treatment, chemotherapy or radiation, anything like that. Okay?
So she might need chemo?
I'm not saying that. She's going to be all right. But that's the truth. That's as much as I know. That's where we're at. And I promise you, I will keep you up to date. I don't want you in the dark.
Okay. How are you?
Yeah, you know, I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. Yep. It's scary, but I'm okay. Yep. So, you gotta know that your mother is so strong and she's so positive and she is doing everything she can to get healthy. And the best thing that you can do for your mom right now, Hattie, is you just focus on school. And you do well and you make her proud, okay? Can you do that for me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Listen, I gotta get back to work here, but I love you, okay?
Mm-hmm. Love you too.
Bye.